I read 67 books in 2023, and if you get a hang of this technique, you can too. Hello and welcome back to the Looking Glass World. My name is Radna Matthews, and today I am giving you a hack or a technique, I don't know what to call it, but it's a way to guarantee that you will read at least 36 books in 1 year. So if that excites you, make sure to subscribe. And if you're ready, let's go. I've divided this technique into 4 reading levels, the easiest being 36 books a year. At medium, you have around 45 books a year. At boss mode, you have 50 books a year or 55 books a year. And at absolute beast mode, you get to at least 60 to 65 books a year. And the cool thing is the technique to reach all of these levels is exactly the same. So if you want to reach this goal, you're going to need to do 3 things. The first is dedicate an hour to reading in the morning, dedicate another hour of reading in the night, and dedicate 20 minutes of reading somewhere during the day. Now, if that seems like a lot, we anyway spend that much time and more on screens, binging shows, doing whatever. So it's not actually an extra investment, it's just a reallocation of your time. Maybe take a little time off Netflix and into books. And honestly, once you get a hang of it, it's going to feel really easy. If you didn't want to hit that 36 books a year mark, you wouldn't even be watching this video. So I know that you are interested and dedicated to reaching this goal. And with this like small change in lifestyle or habit or however you want to call it, it's very doable. We are here to hit 36 books a year. So let's do that by starting with the assumption we'll take an average of 350 pages per book. Okay, very average standard mark. Naturally, some will be bigger, smaller, but that doesn't matter. You'll still hit your goal. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by taking 2 books at a time. So we'll call these 2 books your primary read and your secondary read. Your primary read is going to be what excites you more because you're going to read more pages of that book each day. So for me, my primary read is usually a fiction novel and my secondary read is nonfiction. Step 2 is to set a daily target. Now, if you want to reach this goal, your target is going to be 30 pages of your primary book per day plus 20 pages of your secondary book. Now, if you stick to that consistently, by day 12 in a month, you would have finished your primary read. And by day 18 or 20, you would have finished both your primary and your secondary reads, which leaves at least 10 days to finish another book. So you're averaging 3 books a month now. And now the third step is actually something that leads from step 2, which is the second that you finish one of your reads, replace it with the next one. So if you finish a primary read, replace it with another primary read. Secondary read, replace with another secondary read. So that's how we keep on going. And once you get into the flow of things, trust me when I say 3 books a month is going to feel like nothing. Now, how do you do this? Now, it still might feel like a lot when I say 50 pages a day, your 30 primary plus your 20 secondary. But here's how we're going to break it down. And this is where our time slots come into play. And for this, I'm bringing out my notes because I've really broken it down here to make sure you can do it as well. So in your morning hour, you are going to do 15 pages of your primary read plus 5 pages of your secondary read. That's a whole hour to just read 20 pages. So when I set these things, that's why I say a minimum of 36 books a year, because I'm assuming that you're reading, you're very distracted, it's the slowest pace. I'm setting these guidelines for a very, very slow reading pace. So even if you're moderately fast at reading, you'll be able to accomplish much more in these hours. And even if you're not, you'll still get there. You have 60 minutes to read 20 pages. You can do this. Then what you're going to do is at lunch during your 20 minutes, you're going to do 10 pages of your secondary read. And then finally, before bed, you're going to do the same thing you did in the morning with 15 pages of your primary read and 5 pages of your secondary read. And if you follow just this and you do it consistently, you're reading 50 pages a day. Does it seem that hard when we break it down into 15 pages at a time, 5 pages at a time? You're never reading more than 20 pages in one session. Now, if you want to like level up and you're a little bit faster at reading, you can even push your secondary read to 10 pages in one shot during the morning and night hours. Then you don't really need to slot out those 20 minutes to read sometime during the day if that's really hard for you. But again, in 1 hour, that's still asking for only 25 pages. So if you don't want to do reading 3 times a day and you just want to do it morning and night, this is how you can do it. You can still manage to hit your targets just by sorting out 2 hours in a day. You will average at least 3 books a month, 36 books a year. Now, here's how you level up. It's very simple. We just increase the speed of our reading. So right now, I'm able to do a page in roughly a minute, minute and a half. So that already gives me at least like 50 pages in an hour. So naturally, just by reading faster, I'm able to cover far more ground and thereby cover more books. Now, there's no pressure, but once you start doing this regularly, your reading speed is going to increase. And that's also going to be aided by picking books that excite you. I can promise you that 36 is going to become 50 very, very soon. Trust me, if you get to that number, it's not going to feel like a big deal when someone says they read 50 books in a year, because you can do it too. If you found this video useful, make sure you like and leave me a comment. Start trying it out. I will follow up at the end of the year to see how many books you have read. Other than that, make sure you follow me on Instagram if you want some really good book recommendations at The Looking Glass World. And if you want to read my original work, head to my website at aradhnamatthews.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this helpful. I'll see you next time.